How to handle interruptions most efficiently. Interruptions come at us all day long. And one of the problems as leaders, we're such nice people that we allow people to interrupt us and drag us to whatever part of the store or part of the office or part of the plant because they have an issue or a problem that we need to solve. And we get to the end of our week and we have this long to-do list, and somehow we never check things off our own to-do list because we're running around according to everybody else's schedules because people are grabbing at us all day long. I think leaders have a right to be assertive. I don't think we have to run to every corner all the time. So when somebody interrupts me, the first thing I want to determine is, do they need me or do they want me? Now, if they need me, I go. That's why you get paid the big bucks. You're going to go. Place is burning down. There's a stoppage. Something that absolutely has to happen now. They need your input now, and you determine that they need it now, then go. But it's been determined that well over 50% of our interruptions are not needs. They're wants. They feel like needs to the person that's coming to us, but really they're wants. I also believe this. I believe that every time we interact with somebody, we need to build up and not tear down at work. Every time we interact, it should be building and never tearing down. Well, if we do the typical thing that often happens when people get interrupted, where they try and spend time hinting people away through the body language. If I looked at you and said, let's say your name is Jane, and you came and you interrupted me, and I looked at you and said, Jane, get out of my face. I don't have time for you. Many more things are much more important to you. Please move on. You would be offended at that, and it would be tearing down a relationship, not building one up. But if you come to my door and I do this, yeah, and I'm doing all these other things where I'm preoccupied, what am I communicating to you? I'm communicating just what I did verbally a few minutes ago. I'm telling you that I have something that's much more important than you. I'd really rather you just move along, and it's going to take a long time to get rid of you. It may take 3 or 4 minutes of me being preoccupied for you to try and finally get the hint. So there's really inefficient. There's 3 or 4 minutes I'm preoccupied. 3 or 4 minutes you're doing nothing but standing at my door, waiting to see if you're going to get my full attention or not. And so we've got a tremendous amount of wasted time. And at the same time, we're tearing down a relationship because we're being extremely rude and we're communicating that other things are much more important than you. I believe that I can care about your problem and I can move you along in 30 seconds. And it's really important that I do display that care, but it's also really important that if it's not a need, that I get you moved along so I can get back to the things that are on my to-do list, the things that, or the project that's in front of me or whatever the case might be. So when somebody interrupts me, I look at them and say, first of all, it's perfectly legitimate to get to a stopping point and say, hang on just for a second, and you get to a stopping point so you remember where you're going to pick up. Say, Jane, what can I do for you? Don't tell me you care about my problem unless you're looking at me. Don't tell me you care about my problem unless you're looking at me. Okay? Now I'm looking at you. What can I do for you? Jane states to me what her issue is. Can I not, within about 10 to 20 seconds of time, typically, know whether it's a need or want? Subject matter will tell you. Almost always within 10 or 20 seconds, you know if it's a need or want. That leaves me, if it's a need, I go. But if it's a want, that leaves me 10 seconds to say this. Jane, happy to help you. Can't do it right now. Check the calendar, my hourly, whatever. Why don't you come back at 3 o'clock this afternoon and you and I will handle it together. And she's gone. Gone. She's gone. So in 30 seconds, I cared about her problem. I built the relationship, and she's out of my face. She's moved along. And then of course, we've scheduled her to come back at 3. And by the way, if you ask somebody to come back at 3 o'clock, be there, okay? It's called credibility. Make sure you're there to meet with them. And now you might have an opportunity, instead of being the people, everybody's drug of choice, where they're interrupting you all day long looking for a hit. I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. Maybe at 3 o'clock when she comes back, I can actually sit with her for 5 or 10 minutes, train her up, coach her up. And so maybe in this particular situation or these type of situations, I cut down on my interruptions in the future because I've taught her how to do it. I've shown her the thinking process behind it. I'm not just giving her an answer where people just continually come back, but I'm showing her how to handle it in the future and so cut down on my interruptions. The other thing that sometimes happens is between that time and 3 o'clock, it gets solved without me, which also teaches Jane a very rich lesson. And that is she can solve it, and she can solve it without me, which guess what? That's an investment I just made because that cuts down on my potential interruptions in the future. So I'm going to handle interruptions. Full focus. I've talked in other videos about full focus in communication, full focus in listening, and in interruptions it's the same way. Stop what you're doing, get to a stopping point if you want, look the person in the eye, with no preoccupation, not believing you do two things at once. You simply cannot do it. You can't do it effectively, and we get in so many problems when we think we can do things we simply cannot do. We're human beings. We need to act like human beings. We need to understand how our mind works and work accordingly. And we become much more efficient and productive when we do that. So I get to a stopping point, look the person out, what can I do for you? Within 30 seconds, within 20 seconds, I know whether it's a need or want. I look at the person and say, if it's a want, hey, happy to help you, can't do it now, come back at this particular time, and we'll tackle it at that time. You care about the problem, you build a relationship, you move them along so that you can advance your agenda, the project you're working on at a particular time. Very, very important. And that's how I would handle the bulk of my interruptions. Again, if it's a need, go. But if it's a want, you have a right as a leader to be assertive, respectfully so, assertive, and continue the project that you're on at a particular time and advance your to-do list so that you feel like when you get to the end of the week, you actually have something accomplished.